Hello everybody, I'm Fabien and welcome back to the channel. Now this week I'm going to be addressing a few questions that people have had about this jacket, this setup that I have, because it's not the standard type of motorcycle sort of jacket setup. It's an amalgamation of a number of things, and I'd like to just run you through what it is, whether it's a good idea, would I do it again, and pros and cons of it. So as you can see, this jacket setup is made up of two layers. I have my an outer layer, which is primarily used in the winter. It is a body warmer that goes over the top of a more protective leather jacket underneath. This is a full leather jacket built by a company called GearX, not all that well known. I got this for about £60 about 6 or 7 years ago, so it's doing me pretty well. It has hard pads in the elbows, also in the shoulders, and of course in the back. All the pads in the back and shoulder and so on are all fully replaceable, so you can put thicker or thinner ones in there, but it does come with pretty thick pads, as you can see, as standard. There are also cuff zips that will tighten up the cuffs around your wrists, and also a main zip or two, so you can choose between two settings for how tight or how loose you want your jacket around your body. I usually go for the tightest setting. Now this is a beautiful jacket, I get compliments on it all the time, but I will say it's not all that massively practical. It is mainly built for cruisers, I think, and I'll show you why. If I zip up the jacket, all lovely and snug, that's great. However, what remains is this giant gap here. Perfect if you're upright, lovely summer's day on your cruiser, lovely, wind just hits you there, you're doing okay. But if you're slightly more craned forward like I am my slightly sportier bike, you then have this gaping gap for air just to run straight down into your body. However, you know, on really hot days, that's nice, so pros and cons. But so that's part of the reason why I decided in the winter to add this body warming overcoat thing. And this here is just quite a cheap, if you're in the UK, you know, George Essentials, but it's waterproof, it's quite well insulated, and it's quite a nice tight fit because you don't want things flapping around. But what happens is that once this is on, I can zip that up, get the microphone, nice and tight, and that closes all gaps here, like this. And once this is on, I am perfectly warm, for the most part at least. Now what's the sort of downsides of this setup? Well, leather, although I do believe it is the best for protection, you know, the hide of a cow, there's nothing else like it. If you're going to be sliding down the road, textiles, gore-tex, I'm sure there's lots of great materials out there nowadays, but leather is just the best for protection, so I'm glad it's there. However, it's not that warm. There is no internal liner of this jacket, so it tends to sort of I do get kind of chilly, and also eventually the water gets through and then takes a long time to dry out. Whereas from what I understand, gore-tex, gore-tex is completely waterproof, but very expensive. Textile jackets like I've had in the past, they're more waterproof, but it does get in eventually, but they do dry out quite quick. So in terms of waterproofing, not brilliant really at all, but I do like the protection of leather. So what I normally do carry with me, which I don't have with me today, is a standard waterproof jacket, slightly oversized, so I can get it over these bulky pads and so on, and I just put that over the top, and that really cuts through the wind and keeps me dry. So I end up sometimes riding with 3 layers altogether. So I have my protective leather layer at the bottom, my insulated body warmer, and then a waterproof jacket at the top. Nothing special, not gore-tex. I have had a gore-tex rain jacket before. The ability for it to keep you dry as well as wick away your sweat, it was really fantastic. I got rid of that. I think my brother borrowed it for a cycling trip. He's a bit bigger than me, and I never saw it again. If I were to start again and get another jacket, you know, if this one failed and so on, would I do this type of complicated setup again? Probably not. The impracticality levels are just a bit too high. There's not really any pockets. There's no lining that I can take out and wash that will also keep me warm. Does mean sometimes I have multiple layers on, which means I have to carry more with me on my bike. So I do suggest getting a jacket that's a bit more of a Swiss Army knife, do it all. Gore-Tex jackets are great as long as they've got the protective layers in there too. There's nothing going to be like leather in terms of protection, but this is a slightly impractical, although quite good looking setup, I will say. But yeah, it's just quite impractical. So I won't have this jacket set up forever. Please let me know in the comments what you have. In the past, I've had a leather and textile combo, which actually was pretty good. So let me know what you have and I'll look it up. I'll put a link for this jacket down in the description so you can have a more detailed look. Thank you ever so much for watching. Hopefully that answers all your questions on this lovely thing. And I'll see you in the next video.